Yeah, Siri, can you call him or check him? Yeah, okay. Yeah, good morning, all.
Okay, good morning.
Yeah, so good morning, everybody. So now, Jagriti, are you ready?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, so this is Jagriti's ETC, Advancement to Candidacy. So, Jagriti, now you have a time 30 to 45 minutes. Okay, and then rest of time for the question answers.
All
So,
right, sir.
yeah, now you can start.
Okay. Good morning, everybody. Good morning, Professor Paula, Professor Virakon, and Dr. Singh. Uh, thank you for your time today, and some colleagues have joined. Thank you for your time today for my presentation. I'll start directly. So my topic is towards a gender-just energy future. So I want to analyze what are the like how is the current implementation of the rooftop solar program and what can be done better. So I want to find out the gender responsive approaches to decentralized renewable energy in India. So I have structured my presentation in this way, like I'll give some background significance, problem statement, research questions, a little bit of methodology, some of literature review, then how I am conceptualizing the research, and timeline, budget, and surveys. So background and significance, if I can like tell in short, so India is having a very ambitious renewable energy targets. So the target is that 500 gigawatt of non-fossil fuel energy capacity will be developed by 2030. And under the NDCs, by 2030, we want to achieve our, those are the target under 2030, and we want to achieve our net zero by 2070. And current capacity stands at 119 gigawatt, which comprises 90 gigawatt from ground-mounted plants, 19 from grid-connected rooftop systems, 3 gigawatt from hybrid projects, and 5 gigawatt from off-grid installations. And the data is from the Ministry of Renewable Energy. So in order to achieve these ambitious targets, India has been putting all its efforts. And recently, like from 2024, a flagship RTS program has started, PM Surya Ghar Muft Bijli Yojana, which is like free electricity scheme. So under this scheme, the target is at 1 crore, which is 10 million households will be come under this RTS scheme. So the scheme actually provides up to 300 unit of free electricity and offers subsidies which are provided by government, financing which is provided by some banks. Some are government bank and some more private players are also coming to provide the finance. And the application for installing is very easy, like it's on the website. So online portal application support is there. People apply for it, and then the discoms take over from there. And the main idea is, of course, to promote clean energy and reduce the power bills. So due to its decentralized democratic energy process, the RTS has potential to improve women's energy access, time use, and agency. Why focus on RTS and why I have selected this? Because so here are a few benefits which RTS can provide to the women, uh, particularly to the women. So how that, so it provides a clean energy access, reliable energy, affordable power, which will reduce the dependence on kerosene, oil, biomass, or unreliable grid supply. The universal access will be provided if it is decentralized energy. It will save time and reduce drudgery for millions of women who are spending their time in collecting firewood or biomass for cooking or other energy needs, which saved time can of course be used for education, for economic opportunities, and for their overall well-being. It enhances economic opportunities also. Women can start up their small business units at home, tailoring, food processing, digital services, uh, can be initiated. It improves health because of the reduced indoor air pollution, which is now caused by burning wood in the small houses, in the small kitchen, which are not ventilated. Improve safety. So solar powered street lighting will improve mobility and safety especially for women. It also strengthens agency and decision making because it will probably like increase control over household energy use and expenses, and participation in RTS adoption can elevate women's role in household and community decisions if they're also involved in the management part of it. Now, the problem statement is the gendered impact of rooftop solar, they are not researched as of now. So they remain under-researched in India, lack of clarity on whether women, especially from poor and marginalized group, benefit from RTS programs or not, we don't know. Critical gaps exist in understanding how RTS will affect women's income, mobility, time user, and decision making. Intersectional barriers also exist, like lack of land rights, because women do not have land or houses in their names, or whether they have permissions to do so, whether they have rights to do so, we do not know. It needs to be researched. Finances, social norms, whether the finance is provided to women, whether the social norms are such that women are encouraged to use these energy schemes. Absence of gender disaggregated data. As of now, we do not have much gender disaggregated data on this. And of course, then the monitoring frameworks are either limited or very weak. Then existing policies may unintentionally probably would be reinforcing the power imbalances without addressing the social and gender justice. So my entire research proposal is built around this. So objectives are that I want to critically examine the multi-dimensional nature of the energy transition through a gender lens, to understand women's roles, experiences, and challenges, and to contribute towards the development of inclusive, gender equitable energy policies and practices. The specific objectives would be that number one, I want to assess the extent to which India's RE programs, particularly RTS program, have improved women's access to reliable, clean, and affordable energy. Then next, point number two, objective number two is I want to examine the relationship between improved access to RTS and women's economic empowerment, whether it is having a positive impact on income generating activities, time use, mobility, and decision making. Then objective number three is that I want to identify and analyze the socio-cultural, economical, and institutional barriers that may hinder women's full participation and equitable benefits, with focus on intersectional factors, like because in India, there's a huge problem of caste and class as well, and then geography and marital status. Then objective four is that I want to critically evaluate the gender responsiveness of national and state level RE policies and recommend the policy interventions which can enhance women's leadership and inclusion. And then last but not the least is to provide a framework which can help other programs also in promoting gender equitable approaches in energy transitions, policy and programs. So in order to achieve these objectives, the research questions I have formulated is one, to what extent India's flagship renewable energy program, rooftop solar, has improved women's access to reliable and clean energy in India? Then point number two is how does improved access to rooftop solar energy influences women's economic empowerment and decision-making within household and community? Then question number three is what are the socio-cultural and institutional barriers limiting women's full participation in the benefits of energy access, because knowing the barriers is very important. Then question four is how gender responsive are renewable energy policies and programs in India, and what policy interventions can enhance women's leadership and inclusion in the renewable energy transition. The expected outcomes from this research are that we will have a nuanced gender insights into the rooftop solar adoption, particularly in Bihar, because I want to focus on my state where I am currently residing. Then identification of gaps in women's access, awareness, financing, decision-making, and technical capacity. Then gender disaggregated evidence will be generated, which will inform inclusive rooftop solar program. Then policy recommendations for integrating gender responsive approaches. Then another expected outcome is that it will contribute to the state renewable energy planning. It will also contribute to the India's NDCs and national SDG targets. Then development of a more inclusive solar energy ecosystem, which will promote energy justice and gender equity. How I want to approach the research. Here is the research methodology. I'm proposing that it will be a mixed method design, which will capture both qualitative and quantitative dimensions of women's experiences with RTS. The study area and sampling is urban and rural settings in the selected Indian state, which is Bihar. Then purposive sampling to select women RTS users, because there we will have to identify which households are has used RTS, and among which are the particularly women are there, or women-headed households. Then energy officials, NGOs which are involved with this particular program, and other stakeholders. The primary data collection, I'm proposing that I can do survey with women RTS users, which will be 200 to 300 households. Under these surveys, I would focus on household socioeconomic profile, source and decision process for RTS installation, energy access and usage patterns, how they are using it, pre and post RTS, then impact on time use, income generating activities, household energy expenditure, how the expenditure has reduced or increased, and how they are managing it. Then decision-making power and mobility. Then I want to find out that what is the awareness of government's RTS schemes and subsidies among women, particularly, because if the awareness is there, that would mean that they are using it. Then ownership and control over energy assets. I also propose to do key informant interviews and focus group discussions, key informant interviews with 20 to 30 participants to understand the institutional and policy environment, barriers to women's participation and implementation challenges. The KIIs will be done with energy officials of state and local level, implementing agencies and solar vendors, women-led SHGs or energy cooperatives, panchayat leaders and community-based organizations, because panchayat leaders are almost they are involved with these decisions. Then focus group discussions to generate the in-depth community insights. FTGs will be conducted with the use of participatory tool like activity charts, and gender roles will be main kind of instrument for that, to explore gendered impacts and intersectional experiences. And separate FTGs with women and men RTS users, and some non-users to validate the findings. Then secondary data collection, which is obvious, like journal articles, conference papers, policy documents, program reports, etc. Data analysis, qualitative will be done with descriptive and inferential statistics, and qualitative with thematic analysis using gender and intersectionality frameworks which are available. Ethical considerations will be, of course, taken care of to inform consent, anonymity. Expected outcomes is generation of empirical evidence and development of integrated gender lens framework for India's ambitious energy transition. So here is the research process, which I have understood that first we define the research problems and objectives, which is right now currently my stage. Then literature review, which I have already started. Then formulate the research questions, for which I need your kind feedback. Then develop the conceptual framework, identify the research methodology, data collection, data analysis, discussion of findings, and then research recommendations and conclusions. And I will need your kind support in all of these steps. So if I can take some time in quickly going through the literature review. So as we all know, the energy transition is the global shift from fossil fuel based energy systems such as coal and oil and natural gas to the renewable and cleaner energy systems like wind, solar and hydropower. It's the main tool in broader strategy adopted by the governments to contain the global warming to 1.5 degrees Celsius above pre-industrial levels by mid-century, even though we are very bad in achieving that ambitious target. Then our aim is to reduce the GHG emission, combat climate change, and create a more sustainable energy future by decarbonizing electricity and electrifying the sectors like transport and heating. Just energy transition, as a name specifies, it should be available, accessible, affordable, and reliable for all, without reinforcing the existing inequalities. The core principles of the just energy transition, which are laid down by the experts, are that number one, there should be equity and inclusion. There should be participation of all sectors. The focus is on the environmental sustainability and intergenerational equity, so that in order to ensure that the future generations are not burdened by our actions. Now, when we look into the gender dimension of the energy transition, we see that women experience energy poverty more severely due to their own gender roles, their social roles, and unequal power. Because household energy decisions exclude women's needs and voices, but women are the one who need more energy for the household, for the cooking, for the lighting, for all. Lack of clean energy increases time burden for fuel collection and household work. Even in the developed, countries like India, which is fastly developing, a lot of time like women are spending, especially in the rural areas, like a good number of hours women are spending on collecting the fuel wood. Then health risks from biomass cooking, 85% of the related deaths, this is the data from UN, 85% of related deaths are women and children, and that is due to indoor air pollution, because that causes women respiratory diseases, asthma, burns to children, also injuries to women when they are carrying wood. Limited land rights, credit access, and financing restrict women's adoption of modern energy. Women's unpaid energy-related work remains undervalued and invisible in statistics, and as a result, energy planners are unaware how much efforts women are putting into it, and then for the result, there are no policies or benefits to women. Also, we know there are reports often that there are increased violence against women and girls because of the lack of street lighting at night. And ironically, I would like to mention this, even though even though we say that we have electricity is reached in rural areas also, but lighting and television use account for at least 80% of the electricity consumption, and only 2% of rural population uses the electricity for cooking. And that means that situation is not changing. The cooking is mainly done still on the either on the LPG or the fuel wood. Now here is some data touching upon how is women's role and representation in the renewable energy sector. So women's current representation in renewable energy sector is showing some improvement, but it is still very, very low. Women make up approximately 32% of renewable energy workforce globally, and which is higher than 22% representation in traditional energy sectors like oil and gas. But sadly, women represent only 5% of board executives and 16% of board members in power and utility companies. In India, women represent merely 11% of the workforce in the India's renewable energy sector, which is again like significantly lower than the global average, which is 32%. Barriers for women's participation in energy transition projects are mainly technical knowledge requirement, because the energy sector is heavily based on technology, science, technology, energy, and mathematics streams are required, and women lack in that. Male-dominated environments, workplace discrimination, time commitment and inflexible work environment. There are many reports on this that due to the workplace situations or conditions, it is not really promotes or encourages women to join these sectors. Then financial investment focus. The sector requires a lot of upfront financing, and women lack in that. Even the loans which are provided, they require the collateral, and women lack in those assets as well. Then lack of social integration and network through which many a times women even do not know there is lack of awareness. Women even do not know what is going on, and they do not have a supporting network which can promote them in accepting or utilizing these schemes or projects. Now, when we look at from this angle like gender, then gender and energy is basically, it's a nexus. It is not a one-way stream that it is the energy is impacting gender, but it is a two-way relationship between gender and energy, like gender enforcing energy and energy transition also enforcing the gender relations or impact on gender relations. How? So energy impacts gender because energy excess, or if we say lack of it, it can affect or it affects women's health, women's safety, women's economic opportunities, and the time burden. And gender impacts energy systems. For example, if women's active participation will be there in this sector, so women's active participation in energy planning, entrepreneurship, and policy making will lead to more inclusive and more effective energy solutions that address the diverse needs. And also women's more active participation will kind of will speed up the energy transition, and it will help us reach our NDCs and national targets even more efficiently and fastly. So key aspects of gender energy nexus is gendered, the energy demand is gendered. The social and economic implications are there because of the lack of clean and affordable energy affect women's health and safety and also economic empowerment. Energy justice and equity. The nexus calls for energy policies that explicitly address gender inequalities to ensure the equitable distribution of energy benefits and burdens. Then gender energy nexus calls that women should be seen as the agents of change, not as a victim or only beneficiary. The nexus highlights women's crucial roles as innovators, entrepreneurs, and decision makers in the energy sector. If we start to see women as agents of change, our whole thought process will change, and we will try to involve women in all the different positions, which will become a basically a crucial factor. Then systemic and reciprocal relationships. So gender norms influence energy access and use, while energy systems and policies can reinforce or challenge existing gender inequalities. So basically the nexus demands that a holistic approach should be taken rather than treating women or gender as an add-on variable in energy policies. A few concepts which I have been studying when I am doing my literature review is, so one, Dr. Daniel says, like it's an old research, but it was quite useful, that it was quite detailed paper that and to strengthen the concept that energy access should be seen from the rights perspective, as access to energy is positioned as a basic human right. So energy access and efficiency have profound implication for the human development and a prerequisite for realizing other human rights such as food, health, gender equality. So if we want to achieve these other human rights, like food should be available to all, health should be available to all, then we need to focus on energy access also as a basic human right. Then energy citizenship. That energy citizenship supports a movement of active citizen engagement that reorganizes the collective and political dynamics of the energy systems. So in this case, citizens have the power to shape the policy. So citizens are not mere the recipients of government's policies, but they take active participation in the energy policies, And there is an opportunity to form energy communities. And when we form energy communities from the local like population, it gives us opportunity to involve women in that. Then doing gender, it's a very, like we all know, it's a very famous concept. So it refers to how individuals conform to or challenge the established social and gender norms, gender roles, and the expectations. So men in energy sector, especially in the leadership position, they use their influence to reinforce gender hierarchies, and which goes in a spiral and doesn't let the situation change. Then concepts which is in the literature review, relevant concept in the literature review is energy access and intersectionality. They are deeply connected concepts, as access to modern energy services is shaped by overlapping social factors such as gender, age, income, caste, particularly in India, caste and class, ethnicity, geography, and disability. And marginalized groups, especially women or the rural population or the illiterate population or indigenous communities, they often face multiple and compounding barriers to energy access, including affordability, social inclusion, and lack of participation in decision making. Then we have our SDGs. SDG 7, access to affordable, reliable, sustainable, and modern energy to all, emphasizes that we should have a universal energy access provided to like all citizens. And so it is very important in order to achieve our SDGs, our programming should be such. Then gender and climate action at COP29. So COP29 extended the enhanced Lima work program on gender for 10 years and called for a new gender action plan by 2025, which I've tried to search, though even I haven't found, but I will get it and include in my literature review. It focuses on gender responsive climate finance, women's participation in negotiations, and support for women-led initiatives. Then there is the terminology which has been like in kind of established some time ago, which is pink tax. So pink tax is a tax which is found in the research that women often pay higher price for the same services which are offered to the men. So so women are paying higher prices even in the rooftop solar. So this study is not from India. It's from I'm forgetting the name of the country. So, this study found some country in Africa. So it was found out that women were paying higher prices per watt, and they were receiving lower financial returns. The aggressive sales tactics and the lack of price transparency, they exploited women-headed households. So women were given wrong information, and they were actually sold those rooftop solar which were beyond their need. So they were paying for that higher installation cost. So the lack of awareness and kind of we call it pink tax. The role of masculinities in solar energy transitions. So masculinities often shape how solar energy systems are designed, promoted, and maintained, and framing them as male-dominated technical domains, which enforces further. So which in like further reinforces the gender hierarchies and limits women's participation in technical training, leadership, and decision making. Then we have gender-aware imaginaries. So gender-aware imaginaries often emphasize that energy access as a means to improve women's livelihood and inclusion, while gender-unaware imaginaries, they tend to treat energy transition as gender-neutral processes, ignoring the power imbalances and structure inequalities, which in reality exist in our system. Then public perception and equity gaps in residential solar adoption. So public perception of solar energy are influenced by factors like cost, aesthetics, and awareness, which often vary across socioeconomic groups. And equity gap emerge as low income and marginalized households face greater barriers to adoption due to limited financing options, limited technical knowledge, and targeted outreach. It was also seen that men were significantly more willing to adopt RTS schemes than women. While no such difference was observed for community solar, so it could probably be attributed to the gender dynamics in household decision making, with the rooftop solar requiring financial investments as the main consideration. Then we know the new concept which is also being explored is gender energy nexus and artificial intelligence. So artificial intelligence, it can support gender equitable energy transition by improving our data collection, policy design, and service delivery tailored to women's needs, which although sadly right now is not being used in such direction, and the focus should be on using more and more artificial intelligence to address the gender biases. Then we have gender data deficit a lot, like there's a huge lack of gender disaggregated data in the energy sector, which limits the ability to assess women's access, participation, and benefits. And without the proper gender disaggregated data, the correct policies, I would say, are not being made. If we talk about Indian case, I already actually explained this, that India has a target of reaching net zero by 2070 and 50% of electricity from renewable energies by 2030. I've already explained this in the initial initial slides. So if we focus on India, the key gender challenges are patriarchy and extractivism, which is basically, and these two concepts are linked to today's environmental crisis. So land dispossession for large-scale solar parks, which has been, so recently the focus of Indian government has been on establishing large-scale solar parks. So, but the few researches which have been coming out is that in order to establish the large-scale solar parks, the land disposition is basically is done because the government acquires a lot of land, and while acquiring the lot of that land from the rural or indigenous communities, it disposes the communities from that land which they call their own, and which reinforces traditional roles and gender inequalities by limiting women's power, women's income, and women's mobility, because that are the land on which women used to, women used to raise their animals, for example, or women used to take their animals for grazing in that land. So communities are losing access to land and resources, and it disrupts the system that supports their daily life, their livelihood, and their cultural survival across generations. Community-based solar initiatives like Solar Urja through localization for sustainability, this program initiated by the Ministry of Natural and Rural Renewable Energy, So MNRE, the ministry, has they had significant positive impact on rural women's empowerment by enhancing their skills, confidence, and decision-making abilities. So this is a positive case in which this program, SOLS program, was implemented in Assam, Bihar, Jharkhand, and Uttar Pradesh between 2017 and 2019. And the program had a major component which was focusing on women, and the empowerment indicators were taken as assertiveness, decision-making, and satisfaction. In this particular program, women were made as energy entrepreneurs. They were given they were facilitated that they would run their own solar shops and due to which the women experienced the highest level of empowerment with improved income, stronger decision-making power, and greater satisfaction compared to women in other roles. Although there is a need to also find out like what is the program status at the moment, because it has been a few years back. Now, what we know from what we can see from this picture, I'm sorry, but because I couldn't find a very clear picture. This is taken directly from this research paper. So solar energy injustices, they exist at each node of value chain. So the whole value chain of solar PV is like from the resource extraction to the manufacturing of the PV, from the site development, from the operations and use, and from to the decommissioning and disposal. In every situation, the injustices exist. So how? Here is a clear this thing of that at the resource extraction level, the mining of rare earth elements, they affect rural environments because of the water contamination. Then when it goes to labor, like for manufacturing, at that stage, the labor precarity for informal and insecure, low paid wages, etc. And then occupational hazards. And then we have seen the gender division of labor, the land disposition as I just discussed, and the exclusion from decision making. So if we see, women are excluded or kind of disempowered or made vulnerable in all of these stages of the India's solar PV value chain. So the literature review, I will continue to do my literature review. So based on this current status, what I have studied.
สวัสดีครับแคทวันนี้รีรันบ่ายโมงหรือเปล่าอ๋อบ่ายโมง
Yeah, Jagriti, you can go ahead.
Right. Okay. So the conceptual framework, which is currently I have tried to frame, and I would need your feedback on it. So the basically what we see from all these different aspects, that one is the feminist gender aspects, and one is the policies and power structures and patriarchy aspect. So I thought that there is a need to combine these all different concepts which are emerging from this research. So I have tried to frame an integrated theoretical framework which includes the gender concepts, which is gender and development, and feminist political ecology. So if we see it from a gender aspect, so gender responsive policies and programs are a major factor of this. Economic empowerment of women is a major factor which needs to be factored in. Participation and leadership of women needs to be checked in, and institutional mechanism for inclusion, how the policies, institution structures are involving or inclusive for women or not, needs to be checked at one end. So which will be totally focused on gender and development, of course. And on the other hand, we need to also look for the political ecology, which will focus on the power structures related to the energy sector, socio-cultural and institutional barriers which exist in the energy sector, intersectionality, agency, and decision making. Now, when we take these two aspects together, that will inform how is the adaptation to the rural, to the rooftop solar program by women, and which will further then answer our research questions, that what is the extent of improved access to women, what is the impact on empowerment, what were the barriers to our participation, and what is the gender responsiveness of the policies. And that would, these research questions when answered would lead to the outcome, the access versus control, that whether women only have the access or do they have a decision making also, whether they have the control as well. Then economic agency and decision making, policy and institutional inclusion, and the barriers shaped by gender, caste, and class. So this is the explanation of what I have just explained. Then I am, this is my timeline. The literature review will continue, draft submission, which is I did a few days ago, proposal defense in August that we are doing right now. Then I'll keep refining till this month and finalize the surveys and KII and FTGs as per your guidance. Then in September, I will take the clearance from the authorities. October, I would do a pilot testing of it, of all the three tools, surveys, KII, and FGD. Then, based on that, revision will be done, and the first progress exam I would request in December, and the report writing will be there. Then field work will be conducted from January to March. That transcription and initial coding will be done in April. Data analysis will start as along with the coding. It will go for 2 months. Then I request the second progress exam in the June. Then thematic analysis will be done after the exam when I have your feedback. The thematic analysis will be done for 3 months. Then I start writing my report. And the third progress exam I request in the next year, December. And after that, I will do the analysis and the paper writing process will start. And of course, the report writing and the final defense I am proposing for the 2027 December. This is the expected budget of the 3 years. So travel is the most like expensive because I would have to travel to the villages. So that way I've calculated like this. So I mean, this is proposed. I mean, I will have to check if there is any changes in the. Do I need to go through the questionnaire?
Yes, quickly.
Oh. So survey questionnaire, so focusing on 5 aspects: basic demographic, energy access, economic empowerment in decision making, barriers to participation, and perceptions of policies and programs. So the first section, I am taking the basic demographics: education level, gender, occupation, caste, important factor, household size, annual income. Then section B, access to renewable and clean energy, like for household with RTS beneficiaries. So trying to find out what is their main source of electricity, then how many hours of electricity they use per day or they get per day. Then who makes the decisions to install the rooftop solar, whether it was the male decision or the female decision or the joint decision. Did the installation of solar energy lead to more reliable access to energy? It will tell us whether the situation is improved or not in the terms of energy access. Then what do they use the solar electricity for? So whether they are only using it for the lighting and phone or entertainment, or water pumps or home businesses, which will tell us whether women are using it for their entrepreneur activities. Then has your monthly expenditure on energy changed since installing solar? So that will also tell us whether what is the impact on their monthly expenditure. Then economic empowerment and decision making. So are you involved in any income generating activity? Did energy access help you start or expand your activity, economic activity? Do they have control over income from your work is used? Then who makes the decisions, choice of energy source, who makes, whether it's by women or husband or in-laws or joint decision, or who makes a decision of how the money will be used. Then children's education, participation in meetings. Then a question, do you feel more confident or independent after having better energy access? Then we have a section on asking the socio-cultural and institutional barriers. So what challenges do women face in accessing and using solar energy technology? So what kind of barriers? It's basically asking the participants how they perceive the barriers. So whether they have lack of information, whether they are not able to make any decisions, whether they have financial constraints, whether they have technical complexity, or if there are any cultural or other barriers. Then are there any taboos or norms that prevent women from using or benefiting from clean energy? So if there are any norms, because in some cases we saw that they say that no, we don't want to use the solar energy, solar cookwares, because the food is not good, or food is not tasty, or food is not the food will be impure, sort of things. So whether it is that. Because in India, it's also a huge this thing that cooking on wood is pure. So I want to check that as well. So then next question is, do single women pay different price to check whether it's a pink task? So women are not aware, and they are being made foolish, or made pay for more for storage installation and maintenance. Then, do you feel women's voices are heard in community level energy or development meetings? Are they participating? Then, are women trained or involved in technical or maintenance work related to solar energy? Because if they're trained in maintenance, they can start their own. They can become mechanics. So they will become a solar entrepreneur basically. Then awareness and perception of policies and programs. So are you aware of any government programs related to clean energy? Whether women were consulted or included during the implementation of the programs in their area? Do you think government energy programs consider women's needs and roles? What support do you think women need to benefit more from clean energy? So financial subsidy, training skills, ownership rights, awareness campaigns, leadership opportunities. So this answer coming directly from women will tell us that on the ground, grassroots level, what is the thing which women actually need. Then do you think women can take leadership roles in the renewable energy sector? Then why? Yes, they can take. Then why, and why not? Then a final open-ended question is, what changes have you personally experienced in your life due to improved access to clean energy? So this answer will also validate a lot of questions which I have already asked. Then we have a key informant interview guide. So the purpose is to gain insights into how gender is integrated in renewable energy programs and policies, the barriers women face, and the institutional response. So this also is again in 4 sections. So introduction and background. So I'll ask them briefly to describe their role and involvement in
Yeah,
energy.
main headings you can just describe.
Sir.
Quickly wrap up.
All right. So so I'll take their background, then I'll check what is their perception on the women's access to renewable and clean energy, what is their thoughts on women's economic empowerment and decision making, and what do they perceive as barriers and social norms. Then gender responsiveness of policies and programs, institutional recommendations. Yes. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you, Jagriti. Yeah, almost you took around 45 minutes. Okay, thank you. Yeah,
Thank you.
now may I invite, okay, before requesting questions and comments, so did you receive any questions before from the committee members?
No, sir, I have not
Okay,
received.
thank you. Yeah, so may I invite Professor Paula for your comments and suggestions? Paula ma'am, are you there?
Professor Paula, you are muted.
Can you unmute, please?
So sorry. I said time is exceedingly short, so I'll be very, very quick. Not your time, the discussion time today, because this 1 hour is over. So,
Yeah.
but that doesn't matter. We can, since this is a progress report, we can always discuss one-to-one. Since gender is so intrinsic and central to your thesis, I will also want you to, think of how you would approach the study, because much of the study is on policies. So this is a policy study. So I would
Yes.
say that, go through some policy briefs on just energy transition. Like I work a lot with ILO, and they have millions of briefs on that. So have a look at that and see how policy studies can be conducted. The other thing that I would like you to do is, now the slogan is not leaving no one behind. Two things have now become very politically correct. One has been there for a long time: do no harm and leaving no one behind. Okay. And in your case, if we look at the DRE programs, the decentralized renewable and energy programs, leaving no one behind has a completely different meaning. Because you see,
Right.
from your, I was very concerned about looking at your questionnaires, because your questionnaires seem as if you will only discuss things with the, urban educated groups. Because a lot of the questions will not make sense in, I don't know which are your exact sites. So, if once I come to know, then you will have to probably think of translating everything in the vernacular, because a lot of your group, I mean, if you're looking at it from the perspectives of just transition, then you not only have to address questions of renewable energy to physical challenges, but also on social challenges,
Right.
because people facing social challenges do not even understand what we mean by unequal pollution burden. I have had this conversation in Wayanad, where there are refugee camps, and people just don't understand what is this unequal pollution burden. And so, if you are going with do no harm, then there is one aspect which is very problematic, and that is looking at the absolute elite in the decision making, which does not exist. Even the 11% that you're talking about are not in that group of people, the top layer, the creamy layer. And if you are looking at, the the spectrum, then you will understand that there's one community which needs to be addressed, because this is the most, let's say, energy pauperized community, and that is the indigenous communities. So
Right.
you have to address questions of indigeneity if you are going with do no harm sort of aspect, and leave no one behind. So otherwise there's going to be a huge gap in your study if you don't address indigeneity. And so don't look at gender, look at it as a spectrum. Don't look at it as a homogenized whole, because even within the category of women, there are so many shades of gray. So, nothing is black and white. And so can you have a one-to-one discussion with me, Jagriti? Because I find your study very interesting. And I think, instead of taking the entire committee's time for so long, I would suggest let's have a one-to-one discussion, not next week, but maybe the week after that online. And then I find your work very interesting. So I have millions of questions and millions of ways of looking at it. But you will have to sort of adjust our expectations, because this is your study, this is not my study. I will push you from the perspective of gender. Dr. Singh will push you from other perspectives, and I'm sure Professor Virakon will have his own take on it. So I won't take up too much time, but I would definitely want you to look at the leadership, and also to gear your study towards the indigenous community. Okay, because energy, pauperization, pollution, unequal pollution burden, whichever perspective you look at it from, just transition, you cannot leave behind the indigenous communities. So please, once you decide on your field, let me know. I would be most happy to, discuss it with you. So that's it, Dr. Singh. I think it's good progress.
Okay, thank you, ma'am. Okay, thank you very much. Yeah, I hope Jagriti have noted down the comments, and then, yeah, can meet as per her availability sometimes later.
Ye-
Okay. Yeah.
Yes, yes. Thank you so much, Professor Paula. I'll be really grateful if you can give me some time to discuss this.
Yeah.
Okay. Now,
Kriti?
may I
Yeah.
invite Professor Virakan? Yeah.
Yeah, that's okay. I think with presentation, I think it's too long. I think maybe you should limit not more than 45 minutes. Okay. Then leave question more time. And secondly, we have gone through the spatial study last time. You remember the comments we gave, or my comments? You still have record on that?
Yes, Professor Virkon, your comments I had all incorporated in that study, and this study has taken us only a section from there, but it is actually focus more on the decentralized scheme.
Yeah, which one is relevant? My comment last time. You remember the comment last time is relevant to this study.
I'm
Okay,
trying
anyway,
to-
that's
Yeah.
fine. No, I look at your, okay, can you go back to your objectives again? This is ATC, right? Not progress, right? ATC, is that right?
ATC, yes.
Okay, so can you go to your objectives? How many objectives you have? What do you want to do? I'm not clear on your methodology. What you want to achieve and what methodology you want to use. What is your objective here? Critically examine multidimensional nature of energy transition through gender lens to understand human roles, experience, challenge to contribute to a development inclusive, gender equitable energy policy and practice. I think you talk about all these, but you talk about rooftop later, right?
Yes, so when I go into the specific objective, so this is like the overall objective. When I go into the specific, then I talk about the rooftop solar. So if the idea is that if the rooftop solar is addressed, so that will in turn will improve the will check the multidimensional nature of the energy programs, the energy policy and practice.
So
But mostly you consider only rooftop here, impacts of rooftop on the women here, okay? Not other energy source and other energy policy or programs. Like
No, sir.
biomass, for example, biomass or I don't know, wind is there or not.
No, sir. So my focus is on rooftop solar program only, because this is one scheme which is rolled out throughout India, and states are given targets for this. And whether those targets, so it is not an open program, not on other schemes or other policies. It is particularly on this scheme.
yeah, I think so I think look at your objective. It's quite broad. Energy policy. I don't know. If you want to focus on rooftop, you may have to add decentralized energy policy. I think you need decentralized. I mean, energy policy is so wide. And then in the specific objective number 4, you talk about state level, state level can be big solar farm, I think you have to focus a little bit on what you want to do, okay?
Okay.
I think you should focus on decentralized energy policy.
Right.
Rather than state level, like big farm, I still feel that it's quite broad in your studies. Right?
Okay, I will
in your
try to
objective, you didn't say anything about renewable. You just say, okay, multi-dimensional energy transition from what? From where to where? It's not clear. Right? Development inclusive energy, decentralized renewable energy policy or something. You should add those keywords. Okay. Okay. And then, in your specific, then you will focus on the rooftop. Okay, let's say access, reliable, clean, affordable, urban, rural setting, empowerment, economic, income. Well, it's quite coincide with rural education, study, when we talk about rural education by World Bank reports, income, social equity, school, medical, socio-economic institutional barrier, and class, marital status, geography, responsiveness, gender equity. Okay. I think you talk about energy. Well, I would say renewable energy, gender nexus, right? Yeah, I think this could be what you try to link between
Oh.
this. So I think there are many nexus. For example, food, energy, water nexus. Okay, that's one nexus that you can come up with. Energy, climate change, nexus would be, if only two, circle of two, I don't know whether you can expand further. I mean, rather than just, because I think energy and gender may be not really new to me, I think you have to come up with something new, yeah, of course, all responsive gender, that's fine, but we have to respond to the global trend as well, particular climate change. I don't know whether it's possible to expand. I think please record my comment. I think you can put in writing, as my ATC exam. Okay, please record all this. I don't know whether it's possible if we, expand a little bit from energy gender nexus, rather we go renewable energy, gender and climate change nexus. Let's say that's another circle, which, or in water, in water, clean water access is also very important, particularly in rural area in India. I know that's a problem for clean water. So I don't know how we can further expand. It help, preventing disease, for access of clean water, not only clean energy but clean water. And so how this clean energy can generate clean water in rural areas, particularly in India, So I think that's another comments. Okay, and I don't know, case study. I don't know what case or pilot, or is there any similar studies that. Well, I think what are the gaps is still not clear to me. What other has it not studied? In your proposal, it's not clear to me in terms of literature review, and because now it's getting difficult, and you have to propose something new, particularly for your doctoral study. If it's too general, too broad, it is quite difficult. Thank you.
Okay, Professor Virakon, I'll revise the objectives as per your feedback, and I'll submit this.
Yeah, Jagriti, if I broadly his last points, particularly gaps are not very clear.
Okay.
Okay. Second things, contributions are not very clear. I mean, novelty basically. Okay, novelty in contributions. Yeah, next years, yeah, there are so many. But yeah, water, what he mentioned that two-way, one is the very broad, which is not possible. One can see that it also coming to mind like water purifier, particularly need electricity and rural area, maybe many times. People or even women, they drink water maybe not purified, not good. So maybe this rooftop or solar energy can useful for the purifying the water. Okay, some kind of equipment device. Okay, that could be just that part may be okay, because our background is not in water more details, but this one maybe we can see. But yeah, renewable energy, climate and gender nexus. I think that could be a very good
Yeah, good. That would be good.
suggestion.
Clean water, renewable energy, and gender nexus. That would be good.
I have a question, like, because sir, the suggestion is very good to look into the water purifier and whether these communities
No,
are used.
not that later, okay, not
Yes,
mixed now,
yes,
okay, that
because I
not
have not.
complicated. That will be, of course, many food is also. So let's see this renewable, climate and gender nexus, okay, and then we will see later what other things. A small component can maybe add, like food in terms of, let's say, like preservation, like refrigeration, okay. What happened, like a lot of foods waste, and not waste is the issue, maybe they retain a damage and then they eat and they fall sick. Okay, so some
Okay.
kind of food preservative, or you can say the food, yeah, preservation, like cold storage or something. So leftover they can use to, they usually in rural area, particularly poor people, they don't throw out straight away. They keep it and then they eat, and sometimes they could not sense that whether it damage or what, and then they fall sick. Okay, those things can act little later, but okay, major like renewable, climate, and gender. Yeah, of course, climate also have a lot of dimensions. It is again too broad, so have to see the very useful, or you can say, which relevant to this score.
Jagrita, can I ask what is specifically your field? Where exactly are you concentrating?
So you mean geographically?
Yes,
So I'm
spatially, exactly.
right. So like I am currently I'm residing in Bihar. So I want to focus on the like the nearby towns and villages, because Bihar is lagging behind on its renewable energy targets and rooftop solar. So government recently has been giving a push to this particular sector. And not only government, so as government is giving a push, then many private players are also coming. So solar panels manufacturing and all these are also getting started. So that way a momentum is now starting to build.
Are you
So
from Bihar? Do you know your field?
I am married here in Bihar. So now it's my home. So it will be convenient for me. I know the language. I mean, I understand the language. And
There are multiple languages, isn't it?
yes, yes. So, but then Hindi is in different like dialects is understood everywhere. So, yes.
Okay, so Professor Virekan, any other
But
comments?
also, I think maybe you also have to revise your methodology as well, because if you want to narrow down the scope, and expand the nexus, I think you have to revise methodology. I want to see, quite innovative methodology in terms of execution efficiency, how we can accelerate, execute, because sometimes you have good framework, good planning, but lack of execution. So I think we want to see the execution innovation as well, if possible.
All right.
Yeah.
And measurable indicators, what are the key measurable indicators you are proposing in measuring the success of this program?
The new contributions. Okay,
Okay.
and one Professor Paula mentioned that what do you understood about her comments?
So, Dr. Paula, Professor Paula wanted to like, she suggested that I look into the indigeneity. So indigenous community should be focused because they are the one who will be like most affected by this particular schemes and transition. So that was one thing. And then she said that do not, so which is related. So she said that not only too much focus on gender, but look at the spectrum. So that would mean that with women, we also include the other vulnerable or indigenous sectors, communities. So that way.
If I understood that her points are not too much emphasize masculinity or something, okay. So she's telling just you focus on the woman spectrum.
Yes. So spectrum and involving the indigenous community. So
Yes.
which is
Not homogenized, okay, not homogeneous.
Yes.
I mean specific. And do not highlight masculinity. That will be already a lot have been told, and then may not be easy to get some good outcome also, because that's a very complicated things. So yeah, so maybe more with this way. So okay, research gaps and then contributions, and then yeah, some because it is policy briefs. She suggested to look some policy briefs
Yes.
more about this type of, okay.
Yes.
And Professor Veera Khan mentioned revise the methodology, execution plan, and some key indicators if you have, and also renewable energy, climate, and gender nexus, and possibly water if possible.
Sir, if we include a climate nexus, then it will become like too broad. So I need
Okay,
your
I try to clarify this point. So he's telling not to, I mean, going in details, okay. Some aspects, okay. You can see you do not need to cover all climate or major climate, okay. Some part which is like you see the water, okay. Water may be water purifier. So for example, okay. Not too many things about that. Drinking and cooking waters also have a lot of impacts on the health, okay. And similarly climate, I don't know what kind of things can consider. That's a little unclear to me also, okay. But let's see the some points what possible.
Right, sir. So because my one apprehension which I have right now, like if I include the water purifier, like I have not studied it from that point of view, and what I have what I know from my observation is everywhere mostly like they use this bottled, the big bottle, that 20 liter 15 liter wala bottle. So that supply is there, or they should I include
Poor
that I
people
the
poor people use that.
because that it's very because like some places which I have visited, I saw that because it's very cheap, like here in even
Yeah,
in
my side also I see that's, but I doubt, I suspect that, but okay, I don't know what quality, but
Okay.
yeah, now you know the because it's cheap. Yeah, I think in my side also, I think few years back it was 1 liter, 1 rupee per liter something. Okay,
Yes, so in 20 to 30 rupees a 20 liter bottle comes, so
yeah.
that becomes like their
I mean,
main.
okay, apart from this study, I surprised, you know, the LPG, okay, so this 20 liter, 20 rupees they charge, and they supply from somewhere to the house, okay. If I say, can gas cylinder in 20 rupees, can they supply from somewhere to their house, shop to house, they will not supply. But in 20 rupees, 20 liter water, and labor cost all they supply to the house, okay. So that's a different issue, okay. But I mean, see the psychology anyway. So okay, that's some examples he was asking, okay. So you can see that one, okay.
Sure, sir.
And, it will be, you
Okay.
can see. Okay, so now any doubts you have?
No, sir. So I will revise these objectives and these indicators. I will include execution information in the research methodology. I will include. And sir, then how much time do I have to submit this to you? Or like what is the next step, the process? I am not sure. So if you can guide me on that.
Okay, sorry, can you repeat?
So now I will work on these
Mm,
feedback which
mm,
I've received today.
mm.
Now do I have to revise this proposal and submit to you and by when?
Yeah, I mean, you see the two things. Of course, the rest you can, what you understood, you noted down, you use those things. And maybe next week or somewhere can meet with the Professor Paola to get her, I mean, points included. Okay. And also I am looking to talk to her. Okay. So that we can do that one. Okay.
Right.
So
And do I have to submit like anything, the process, do I have to submit this to registry or something? Because I don't know.
yeah,
Because
Siri, I think she will tell you. I think, I don't know, maybe one page something abstract or something need. What? Okay, but Siri will come to you. Okay, she
oh,
will
okay.
inform you what to do.
All
Okay.
right.
So, okay, can you then come back to the WhatsApp?
Yes.
Okay.
All right. Thank you
Okay,
so much
so thank you very much.
for your time and all the guidance. Thank you, sir.
Okay, thank you. Okay, bye.
Thank you,
Bye.
Ms. Shiri. Bye-bye.
Bye.